The text arrived at 11:47 p.m., just as I was settling into my worn leather chair with a beer and the remote. My phone buzzed against the coffee table, the screen lighting up with a message from Andrea Cummings, or Dree, as she insisted everyone call her. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Elliot, Monica's having second thoughts about the wedding. She's been crying all evening. Maybe if she had her dream car, she'd feel better about everything. You know what I mean? A girl needs to feel special on her big day. You know what to do. XOX. I stared at the screen, my jaw tightening. Dream car. Right. Because nothing says I love you like a $40,000 Tesla to appease a woman who already had everything she could possibly want. My name is Elliot Crane, and I'm a project manager for a construction company here in Millbrook, Massachusetts. I'm 38 years old, I drive a 10-year-old Ford pickup, and until recently, I thought I was going to marry the woman of my dreams. Monica Crane, well, she kept her maiden name for professional reasons, worked as an HR executive at a tech company downtown. Beautiful, successful, ambitious, everything I thought I wanted. The problem was her best friend Dree, a social media influencer who made her living posting pictures of expensive meals and designer handbags to her 50,000 followers. Dree had been Monica's maid of honor since we got engaged 8 months ago, and she'd turned wedding planning into her personal shopping spree. I walked into the kitchen where Monica was loading the dishwasher, her blonde hair pulled back in a messy bun, wearing one of my old work shirts that somehow looked designer on her. "Hey, babe," I said, trying to keep my voice casual. "Just got a weird text from Dree. Something about you having second thoughts?" Monica's shoulders tensed. She didn't turn around. I don't know what she's talking about. She mentioned something about a dream car making you feel better. Now she turned, her green eyes flashing with something I couldn't quite read. "Elliot, I never said anything about a car. You know Dree. She gets these ideas." But there was something in her voice, a careful tone that I'd been hearing more often lately, like she was reading from a script. "So, you're not having second thoughts?" She walked over and wrapped her arms around my neck, pressing her body against mine. "Of course not, baby. I love you. I want to marry you more than anything." The kiss she gave me was perfect. Too perfect. Like everything else about Monica lately. After she went to bed, I sat in my home office, really just the spare bedroom with a desk and filing cabinet, and stared at Dree's message. Something was off. Monica and Dree had been whispering together constantly for weeks, their conversation stopping whenever I entered a room. There were long phone calls that ended abruptly when I came home from work. I opened my laptop and did something I'd never done before. I started documenting everything. Screenshots of text messages, notes about strange conversations, dates and times when Monica's behavior seemed off. Call it paranoia, but 20 years in construction had taught me that when something doesn't look right, it usually isn't. And when people start talking about expensive solutions to relationship problems, somebody's about to get screwed. I pulled up our joint bank account on my phone. We had about $8,000 saved for the wedding, plus another $12,000 in my personal savings. Not Tesla money, not even close. But somehow, I had the feeling that wasn't going to matter to Dree. My phone buzzed again. Another message from her. "Think about it, Elliot. Monica deserves the best. She's sacrificing so much to be with you. The least you can do is show her how much she means to you. A Tesla Model 3 would be perfect. I can help you find financing. It's an investment in your future together." An investment. Right. In our future together. I screenshot the message and added it to a new folder on my desktop. Wedding evidence. Something told me I was going to need it. The next morning, Monica was already gone when I woke up. She'd left a note on the kitchen counter. "Early meeting. Love you. P.S. Maybe we should talk about what would make me really happy. XOXO." I crumpled the note and threw it in the trash, then immediately retrieved it and smoothed it out. Evidence. At work, I couldn't concentrate. My crew was pouring a foundation for a new office building, and I kept checking my phone every few minutes. No messages from Monica, but 3 more from Dree, each one more insistent than the last. "Have you thought about what I said? Time is running out. Monica's really struggling, Elliot. She needs to know you're committed. I found a great deal on a white Model 3, only $42,000. I can connect you with a dealer who works with people in your situation." My situation. Like I was some charity case who needed special financing to buy his fiancée's love. During lunch break, I called my buddy Vic Torino, who owned Murphy's Tavern down on Water Street. Vic had been bartending for 15 years and had a PhD in reading people's bullshit. Vic, hypothetical question, I said, sitting in my truck in the construction site parking lot. If someone's girlfriend started demanding expensive gifts right before their wedding, what would you think? I'd think someone's testing the waters, Vic said without hesitation. How expensive we talking? 40 grand. Vic whistled. Jesus, Elliot. That's not a gift. That's a down payment on a house. What's Monica saying about all this? That's the thing, she's not. It's all coming from her friend Dree. The Instagram princess? That girl's trouble with a capital T. She's been in here a few times with different guys, always talking about what they're buying her, where they're taking her. Real piece of work. What should I do? Document everything, and I mean everything. Dates, times, messages, conversations. Trust me on this one, buddy. When women start playing games like this, you want to have your ducks in a row. That afternoon, I did something I'd never done before. I followed Monica after work. I felt like a creep, but something was driving me to find out what was really going on. She didn't go home. Instead, she drove to the Marriott downtown and parked in the garage. I waited 5 minutes, then followed her inside. The lobby was busy with business travelers and tourists. I spotted Monica immediately. She was sitting in the bar area with a man I recognized from her company Christmas party. Jared Rusk, some hotshot from the IT department. Tall, lean, expensive suit. The kind of guy who drove a Tesla and talked about cryptocurrency at parties. They were sitting close together, Monica's hand on his arm, both of them laughing at something on his phone. Very close. Intimately close. I felt my stomach drop. I managed to get a table across the bar where I could see them but stay hidden behind a pillar. For the next hour, I watched my fiancée flirt with another man. She touched his hand, leaned into him when she laughed, played with her hair the way she used to do with me when we first started dating. When they got up to leave, Jared's hand was on the small of her back, guiding her toward the elevators. I didn't follow them upstairs. I didn't need to see that. Instead, I drove home and sat in my kitchen, staring at my phone. At 9:30, Monica texted me. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. Love you. Working late. Sure. I opened my laptop and started a new document. Timeline of deception. Then I began writing down everything I could remember from the past few weeks. Every strange conversation, every unexplained absence, every time Monica had seemed distant or distracted. The picture that emerged was clear. My fiancée was cheating on me, and her best friend was trying to squeeze as much money out of me as possible before they pulled whatever scam they were running. At 11:15, I got another text from Dree. Have you made a decision about Monica's surprise? She's really hoping you'll come through for her. A woman knows when her man truly loves her. Don't let her down, Elliot. You might not get another chance. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, You're absolutely right, Dree. Monica deserves the best. I'll make sure she gets exactly what she deserves. Thanks for opening my eyes. I hit send and smiled for the first time in weeks. Game on. The next morning, I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. Monica was still working late, which meant she was probably still with Jared at the hotel. Perfect. It gave me time to think. I made coffee and sat down with a legal pad, sketching out everything I knew. Monica and Dree were running some kind of con. The Tesla demand wasn't about making Monica happy. It was about seeing how much they could squeeze out of me before... What? Before Monica left me for Jared? Before they disappeared with whatever money they could get? The wedding was in 6 weeks. We'd already put deposits down on everything. The venue, the caterer, the photographer, the florist, the DJ. About $15,000 in total. Most of it non-refundable. But here's the thing about construction work. You learn to read contracts very carefully, and you learn that everything is negotiable if you know how to play the game. I pulled out our wedding file and started reading through every contract, every agreement, every piece of paperwork Monica and Dree had signed over the past 8 months. What I found made me smile. Monica had insisted on handling all the wedding arrangements herself. I want it to be perfect, she'd said. Let me take care of the details. So every contract, every agreement, every liability was in her name, or in Dree's name, since she'd volunteered to be the wedding coordinator to help with her social media content. My name wasn't on anything except the checks I'd written for deposits. I opened my laptop and started making phone calls. Hi, this is Elliot Crane calling about the Crane-Morrison wedding on October 15th. Yes, I need to make some changes to our arrangements. The first call was to Belmont Gardens, the upscale venue where we'd planned to hold the ceremony and reception. I'd put down a $5,000 deposit, but the contract was in Monica's name. I'm calling to cancel our reservation, I told the events coordinator, a pleasant woman named Lisa Chen. Oh no, Mr. Crane. Is everything all right? The wedding is only 6 weeks away. There's been a change in circumstances. I understand we'll lose the deposit, but I need to cancel everything. Well, actually, sir, I'd need to speak with Ms. Morrison about this. The contract is in her name, and according to our policy, I understand completely. But I'm the one who's been paying for everything, and I won't be paying any more. You might want to contact Monica directly about the remaining balance. Remaining balance? The $28,000 due on the day of the event. Since I'm no longer part of this wedding, that's between you and her now. There was a long pause. I'll need to have our manager call Ms. Morrison immediately. You do that. Have a great day. The next call was to Delacroix Catering. Same story. My deposit, Monica's contract, her liability for the remaining $18,000. Then the photographer, the florist, the DJ, the transportation company. By noon, I'd made 8 phone calls. Every vendor was now looking to Monica or Dree for payment on contracts totaling over $60,000. My phone started ringing at 12:47 p.m. Monica. Elliot, what the hell is going on? I just got 5 calls from wedding vendors saying you canceled everything. I didn't cancel anything, I said calmly. I just told them I wouldn't be paying for it. What do you mean you won't be paying for it? It's our wedding. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like your wedding. Your name on all the contracts, your decisions about everything, your friend coordinating all the details. I'm just the guy who's been writing checks. You're being ridiculous. We planned this together. Did we? When was the last time you asked my opinion about anything wedding-related? When was the last time we made any decision together? There was silence on the other end. Then, we'll talk about this tonight. Will we? Or will you be working late again? The line went dead. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a text from Dree. What is wrong with you? Monica is hysterical. How could you do this to her? To US? We've worked so hard on this wedding. I typed back, Don't worry, Dree. You and Monica can still have the wedding of your dreams. You'll just need to pay for it yourselves. I'm sure all those Instagram followers will help crowdfund it. Her response was immediate. You bastard. You can't do this. We have contracts. You're absolutely right. You have contracts. Good luck with those. I screenshot our entire conversation and added it to my evidence folder. The afternoon was beautiful. I decided to take a drive around town, maybe stop by Murphy's Tavern and tell Vic what was happening. But first, I had one more stop to make. Monica's office building was a sleek glass tower downtown. I'd been there dozens of times for company parties and events. I knew the parking garage layout, and I knew that Jared Rusk drove a silver Tesla Model S with the license plate Crypto 1. I found his car on the 3rd level, parked in a spot marked Reserved J. Rusk. Pretentious prick even had his own parking space. I didn't do anything to the car. I just took pictures. The license plate, the VIN number visible through the windshield, the Coexist bumper sticker, and the Tesla logo. Evidence that Jared was exactly the kind of guy who would steal another man's fiancée and then suggest she extort him for a car just like his. But I did leave something under his windshield wiper. A printout of every text message Dree had sent me about the dream car, with a note attached. Jared, thought you should know what your girlfriend's best friend has been up to. Seems like Monica's been sharing some very specific dreams about Tesla ownership. Interesting coincidence. E. Let him chew on that for a while. At Murphy's Tavern, Vic took one look at my face and poured me a beer without being asked. You look like a man who's figured something out, he said. Monica's cheating on me with a guy from her office. Her friend Dree has been trying to get me to buy Monica a $40,000 Tesla as a wedding gift. Same kind of car the other guy drives. Vic whistled low. Jesus, Elliot, that's cold. It gets better. I just canceled all the wedding vendors. Left Monica and Dree holding contracts for about $60,000 in services. You what? Vic's eyes widened. Can you do that? Already did it. Turns out when your fiancée insists on handling all the wedding arrangements herself, she also gets to handle all the financial responsibility. Vic started laughing. You beautiful bastard. They never saw it coming, did they? Not even close. But here's the thing, Vic. I'm just getting started. My phone had been buzzing constantly for the past hour. Messages from Monica, from Dree, from several numbers I didn't recognize. Probably wedding vendors trying to figure out what was going on. I ignored them all and ordered another beer. What's your next move? Vic asked. I'm going to let them panic for a while. Let them try to figure out how to pay for a $60,000 wedding with 6 weeks' notice. Let them explain to all their friends and family why the groom suddenly disappeared. And then? Then I'm going to destroy them. Vic raised his beer. To justice. To revenge, I corrected, and we clinked glasses. My phone rang. Monica again. This time I answered. Elliot, please, we need to talk. This is insane. You can't just what? Can't just stop paying for a wedding to a woman who's been cheating on me? Silence. That's right, Monica. I know about Jared. I know about the hotel. I know about everything. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Tell me something. Was the Tesla idea yours or his? Did he suggest that you get your pathetic fiancé to buy you the same car he drives? Was that supposed to be some kind of joke between you two? Elliot, you're being paranoid. There's nothing going on with Jared. Prove it. Come home right now. Bring Jared with you. Let's all sit down and have a conversation about honesty and commitment and $40,000 wedding gifts. Another long silence. I can't do that? Of course you can't, because you're probably with him right now, aren't you? Planning your next move, figuring out how to spin this whole thing so you come out looking like the victim. That's not... Save it, Monica. I'm done being your ATM. You want a Tesla? Ask your boyfriend to buy you one. You want a $60,000 wedding? Figure out how to pay for it yourself. I hung up and turned off my phone. Damn, Vic said. You're really doing this. 20 years I've been the nice guy, Vic. 20 years of getting walked on, taken advantage of, treated like a second-class citizen because I don't make six figures or drive a fancy car. Well, guess what? The nice guy just died. I finished my beer and stood up. I've got work to do. What kind of work? I smiled. The kind that's going to make Monica and Dree wish they'd never met me. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I checked into a Hampton Inn on the other side of town and spent the evening in my room, laptop open, building my case like I was preparing for trial. The beauty of social media is that people document their own crimes. Dree's Instagram account was a goldmine of evidence, pictures of her and Monica at expensive restaurants, shopping trips, spa days, all time-stamped, all geotagged. I cross-referenced them with Monica's supposed work schedule and found dozens of lies. There was Monica at a wine bar at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, tagged in one of Dree's posts with the caption, "Afternoon delight with my bestie." The same Tuesday, she told me she was in back-to-back meetings all day. There was Dree wearing a designer dress with the tag still on, captioned, "When your girl hooks you up with the employee discount." Monica worked for a tech company, not a fashion retailer, but Jared's LinkedIn profile mentioned consulting work with several high-end brands. The more I dug, the clearer the picture became. This wasn't just about Monica cheating on me. This was about Monica and Dree running a long-term scam, using me as their personal bank account while they lived it up with her real boyfriend. My phone had been buzzing all night. I'd turned it back on around midnight to find 37 missed calls and 42 text messages. Most were from Monica and Dree, but several were from wedding vendors demanding to know what was going on. The best one was from Lisa Chen at Belmont Gardens. Mr. Crane, I've been trying to reach Ms. Morrison all day about the status of your event. We need immediate clarification about payment for the remaining balance. Please have her call me first thing Monday morning. Monday morning. Perfect timing. I spent Sunday putting together what I called the Monica Files, a comprehensive dossier of every lie, every deception, every piece of evidence I'd collected. Screenshots, photos, timelines, financial records, everything organized and documented like a legal brief. Then I made copies. Lots of copies. So Monday morning, I drove to Monica's office building and parked across the street. At 8:47 a.m., I watched her pull into the parking garage, looking haggard and stressed. Good. At 9:15, I walked into the lobby of Pinnacle Tech Solutions and asked to speak with Monica's supervisor, a middle-aged woman named Patricia Garrity, who I'd met at several company events. Mr. Crane, what a nice surprise, Patricia said when I was shown to her office. How are the wedding preparations going? That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about, I said, settling into the chair across from her desk. I'm afraid there's been a development that might affect Monica's work here. Patricia's smile faded. What kind of development? I opened my briefcase and pulled out a manila folder. I've discovered that Monica has been having an affair with one of your employees, Jared Rusk. I have documented evidence of their relationship, including photos, text messages, and financial records showing that they've been conspiring to defraud me of significant amounts of money. Patricia's face went pale. Mr. Crane, these are very serious accusations. They are, and I'm not making them lightly. I slid the folder across her desk. Everything is documented in there. Dates, times, locations. I think you'll find it particularly interesting to see how many of their meetings took place during regular business hours. Patricia opened the folder and began reading. Her expression grew more grave with each page. This is very concerning, she said finally. If these allegations are true, both Monica and Jared could be facing disciplinary action for conducting personal relationships on company time, not to mention the potential legal implications of the fraud allegations. I'm not asking you to fire anyone, I said. I'm simply providing you with information that I felt you should have, as their supervisor. What you do with it is entirely up to you. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. We'll need to conduct a thorough investigation, of course. Of course. And Patricia? You might want to move quickly. I have reason to believe they're planning to escalate their activities, possibly involving other employees or company resources. I left Patricia's office and rode the elevator to the 7th floor. Monica was at her desk, eyes wide with fury. "What are you doing here?" she hissed. "Chatting with Patricia about workplace ethics," I said. Her face went white. "You didn't." "I did. Turns out your boss is very interested in how you and Jared spend company time." She grabbed my arm and dragged me toward a conference room. "We need to talk." "We needed to talk 6 months ago," I said. "Before the hotels, before the Tesla plan, before you and Dree started treating me like an ATM. Now it's too late." She pleaded, promised to end things, to start over. I watched her flinch and then walk away without answering the one question that mattered. Why were the contracts in her name? I didn't stop. Next stop, Dree's loft. Monica had given me a key for emergencies. This qualified. Dree wasn't home, but her laptop was unlocked on the counter. Private messages scrolled across the screen, plans about managing Elliot, jokes about the wedding ATM, and a chilling chat. 40 grand for a Tesla. Men are so stupid. I screenshot everything and added it to my file. Then I did what hits an influencer hardest. I emailed those screenshots to her top sponsors with a concise note about coordinated fraud. Within an hour, 3 sponsors sent cancellation notices. Vic called. "Jesus, Elliot, Dree's meltdown video is trending." "Social media is permanent," I said, "and immediate." That night, motel room fireworks reflected in the window. Monica had called 17 times. Dree's text ranged from threats to begging. Sponsors dropped like flies. At 8:30, Lisa Chen called from Belmont Gardens. The vendors were referring the $28,000 debt to collections. Dree had told them I'd agreed to pay. Lisa wanted confirmation. I told her the truth. The contracts were signed in Monica and Dree's names, and they were responsible. Lisa's relief was almost audible. "You might want to document any threats from Ms. Cummings," she said. "Already taken care of," I replied. "You'll see." I closed the laptop and smiled. Phase 2 was in motion. Monica scrambling with vendors, Dree losing credibility and income, Jared rattled, Patricia watching employee conduct. The web closed tighter. Outside, Millbrook went on. Inside, I finished arranging the pieces. Time for Phase 3. Tuesday morning, Monica pulled her BMW onto my construction site like she owned the place. Black suit, sunglasses, funeral face. My crew stopped working. Nothing entertains construction guys like someone walking into a buzzsaw. "Elliot, we need to talk." I didn't look up from the blueprints. "This is a hard hat zone, Monica. You're out of uniform." "Don't give me that. You're destroying our lives." I laughed loud enough for my crew to hear. "Our lives? You destroyed yours the second you cheated on me. You destroyed it when you and Dree treated me like an ATM. I just made sure everyone else saw who you really are." Her composure cracked. "I never meant for it to go this far." "Really? Was the plan to string me along through a $60,000 wedding before dumping me for Jared and his Tesla? Because that sounds pretty far." She didn't answer. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to leave. You're going to stop showing up at my job, and you're going to explain to your family why there's no wedding." She stared at me, saw no give in my face, and left without another word. Pete, my foreman, wandered over, shaking his head. "Damn, boss. Remind me never to piss you off." That afternoon, Jared called. His voice shook. "Elliot, this is Jared Rusk. We need to talk." "About what?" "How long you've been sleeping with my fiancée?" He stammered. I cut him off. "Murphy's Tavern, 8 o'clock. Don't be late." By the time he showed up, Vic and I were already there. Jared looked out of place in his designer jacket, hands too soft for a bar with peanut shells on the floor. "You're trying to destroy her career," he said after one sip of beer. "No, Jared. I'm just telling the truth. Monica did the rest." "She's willing to work things out with you," he tried. "Work things out? You mean dump you to crawl back to me? And you're okay with that?" "It's complicated." "No, it's simple. You're cowards. You wanted fun without consequences. Well, consequences have arrived." I tossed a 20 on the bar and leaned close. "Stay away from her workplace. Patricia Garrity doesn't like her employees using company resources for soap operas. He looked rattled. Good. The next morning, Dree was waiting by my truck. Sweatpants, messy hair, mascara streaks, rock bottom. You ruined my career. All my sponsors dropped me. My follower count's tanking. Please, Elliot, what do you want? What I want, I said evenly, is for you to finally understand consequences. You tried to extort me. You pushed Monica to cheat. You treated me like a mark. Now you're paying for it. I'm sorry. No, you're sorry you got caught. That's different. She started crying, begged for mercy. I shook my head. You want to make it right? Disappear? Leave town? Start over somewhere else? Because if I ever see you again, I'll make this look like a warning. Her voice cracked. You've changed. No, I've just stopped pretending to be the nice guy you thought I was. That night, Monica texted, Jared broke up with me. Are you happy now? Ecstatic, I wrote back. Now you know what betrayal feels like. She shot back. I hate you. Good, I replied. At least we're honest. But in my gut, I knew. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Friday afternoon, I did something that surprised even me. I called Monica. We need to meet. Tonight, 7 o'clock, Marriott downtown. She hesitated, suspicious. Why? Because I can make $60,000 in wedding debt disappear and save your reputation. I hung up before she could answer. There was no deal, only a plan. At 6:30, I was already in the Marriott bar, the same place I'd once seen her with Jared. Poetic symmetry. She arrived on time, pale, sleepless, dressed in black. All right, she said. What's your proposition? I pressed her first. 4 months with Jared, starting at the retreat. The Tesla scheme? Dree's idea. She admitted she'd planned to bleed me dry and leave me after the wedding. Her apology was weak. I offered a deal. I'd pay the vendors if she signed a notarized confession. Desperate, she agreed. I led her upstairs. Room 847. She read the document, ready to sign. That's when I opened the curtains to the view of the hotel entrance. I lied, Monica. I'm not saving you. I'm ending you. Her face drained of color. What do you mean? The door opened. Lisa Chen from Belmont Gardens, Patricia Garrity from her office, and Detective Keene. Monica Morrison, Keene said, you're under investigation for fraud, breach of contract, and conspiracy. Lisa dropped civil suits on the table. Patricia fired her on the spot. Monica stared at me, tears streaking her face. How could you? The same way you did to me, I said. Except I'm better at it. As they led her away, she whispered, I loved you. No. You loved what I could do for you. When the door closed, I texted Vic. Justice is a beautiful thing. He replied, You magnificent bastard. Drinks on me tonight. I left the fake confession in the trash. I wouldn't need it. 4 weeks ago, I'd been naive enough to believe in Monica. Tonight, I was someone else entirely. Someone who'd learned the truth about survival. Monica and Dree had tried to eat me. Big mistake. I woke up in my own bed for the first time in a week. After Monica's arrest, I'd checked out of the hotel and come home. Everything felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. My phone buzzed all morning. One message stood out. Dree's threat. Someday I'll make you pay. I screenshot it and sent it to Detective Keene. By noon, Keene called back. Dree had been caught at the bus station trying to flee with unpaid merchandise. Theft plus criminal threats. Monica was out on bail, but the DA was moving ahead. Vendor judgments, wage garnishments, a lien on her car, her life was unraveling. I met Vic at Murphy's Tavern. The regulars raised a glass. Word had spread. The working-class guy who'd outsmarted the influencer and her scheming friend. I wasn't interested in fame. I had a foundation to finish and a life to rebuild. Then James Morrison, Monica's father, called furious. He called my actions cruel. I told him the truth. Monica and her friend had cheated, extorted, and tried to steal from me. He hung up. A reporter, Sarah Mitchell, found me and asked about scams. I told her simply, document everything, trust your instincts, and don't let anyone make you feel like you deserve to be treated badly. That evening, an unknown text arrived, Monica saying she'd loved me and was sorry. I deleted it. Some things aren't forgivable. 6 months later, I had a new house and a new sense of self. Monica and Dree were dealing with consequences. The town had seen the truth. I'd stopped being the man people walked on. I'd learned to protect myself. Walking home under Millbrook's quiet streetlights, I felt a deep satisfaction. Not joy, but balance restored. The prey had learned to bite back, and my bite had been lethal. The end. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story. Write in the comments from which city you are watching,